On the wedding day, Mackenzie's first love came back. She showed up at our wedding with her family of 3 and took the opportunity to reveal the secret that I had been asked to keep back then. She said that she came this time because she didn't want to leave any regrets in her youth. It was just before the college entrance examination at that time. She was going abroad to treat her leg and asked me not to tell Mackenzie about it for fear of delaying his college entrance examination. After Mackenzie learned the truth, he thought that I had deliberately tried to break them up. Before entering the auditorium, he grabbed my neck and cursed, "So you've been plotting all this time just for today? Well, I won't let you have your way." During the scuffle, I was pushed down the stairs. The broken glass fragments pierced the main artery in my neck and I bled to death. When I woke up again, I went back to the day when his first love asked me to keep the secret. I was in a daze when Selena shook me awake. "Iris, Mom said she's got the plane tickets and will take me abroad for treatment tomorrow." I looked up at the wall clock. It was 1:30 in the morning. Then I looked down at the narrow bed in front of me. Since Selena came to my house, my room had been given to her. My bed was made by laying the cool chair in the house flat. Mom said it would only be for a few days, but I had been making do with this cool chair from the second year of high school until the end of the third year. I suddenly came to my senses. How strange fate was. The intense pain in my neck and the suffocating feeling of panic due to excessive blood loss seemed to still be in my perception, and my breathing suddenly became rapid. Selena seemed dissatisfied that I didn't respond to her in time. She reached out and slapped my shoulder hard, saying, "Iris, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me?" I snapped back to reality and met her self-righteous eyes. I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. The crisp sound of the slap was particularly jarring in the quiet room. Tomorrow was the first day of the college entrance examination. She was always so self-centered and only thought about herself. In my previous life, I was stupid enough to endure it. I patiently listened to her negative emotions for over an hour and finally took the first exam with a dizzy head. Back then, it was she who asked me to keep the secret that she was going abroad. She said it wouldn't matter that much and not to delay Mackenzie's college entrance examination. Anyway, he would find out in the end. Since she said that, of course a normal person wouldn't tell. We all thought that was the end of it. Later, she stayed abroad, experienced falling in love, getting married, and having children. Mackenzie and I got together 3 years after she went abroad. It was Mackenzie who chased after me. She even sent me a text message to wish me well before the wedding. But then she showed up at my wedding and reminisced about the old days with the man who was about to become my husband. And judged me, the person who had once kept her secret for just 1 day. Were the planes grounded? Or did all the communication facilities in the world fail for them too? They didn't end up together, and it was all my fault. Was it me who made Mackenzie chase after me? Was it me who made them lose contact after going abroad? Was it me who cut off all their ways of communication? Was it me who made Selena seamlessly fall in love, get married, and have children? After Selena was slapped by me, she was stunned for just a moment and then suddenly flew into a rage. "Iris, you're fucking crazy. How dare you hit me?" I stood up. Before she could react, I slapped her again. "If I want to hit you, do I need to pick a day for it?" Her leg was seriously injured, so she could only drag it along half-heartedly and couldn't exert any strength at all. Soon, I pinned her to the ground and beat her. I really had endured enough. Selena was my uncle's daughter. Her parents divorced when she was very young. My mom said she was pitiful and asked me to be more tolerant of her. She stayed at my house from the 2nd grade of primary school until she graduated from primary school. Those 4 years were a nightmare for me. It seemed that I was her personal maid, a 24-hour nanny, even though we were only half a year apart in age. It was my fault that Selena didn't hand in her homework. I was selfish and only cared about myself and not her. It was my fault that Selena got into a fight with her classmates and the parents were called. I didn't stop her. It was my fault that Selena stole money. I was jealous of her and told my parents about it. There were countless such things. When she graduated from primary school and was taken away by her mother, I thought the nightmare was over. But in high school, she came back again. And the nightmare returned. Moreover, since my uncle had passed away by then, my mom became even more protective of her. She regarded Selena as a precious jewel. She thought Selena was pitiful, that Selena had no one to take care of her, and that she needed to make it up to her and keep the last bloodline for her younger brother. And she passed this responsibility on to me. Anything related to Selena was once again tied to me, and I had a greater responsibility for her than her own guardian. For example, she was clearly less than 158 centimeters tall but insisted on being a biker girl. When she got on the motorcycle, her feet couldn't even touch the ground. Sure enough, she broke her leg, and the doctor said she might be lame for the rest of her life. But my mom thought it was my fault, that I didn't take good care of her. That day, she whipped me with a clothes hanger and broke 3 of them. My arm still hurts when I raise it even now. Damn it. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I continued to slap her. After a few slaps, her face swelled up. At this time, my parents finally came. Selena's biological mother couldn't get used to our shabby house and was staying in a nearby hotel. Maybe Selena couldn't bear to part with me, her 24-hour personal nanny. She had to come and go crazy on this last night. My mom pulled me up and pushed me hard. I lost my balance and hit my head directly on the cabinet beside me. I reached out and touched it, and my hand was covered in blood. She didn't seem to expect it to be so serious. She was stunned for a moment and said, "Iris, what are you crazy about in the middle of the night?" She was really exactly the same as in my memory. No matter when it was, she would never side with me. All kinds of grievances from my past life and this life came flooding in. I went crazy on the spot. I wiped the blood from my forehead with both hands, smearing it all over my face. I pulled my hair crazily and shouted, "Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm a lunatic. Driven crazy by you all. Did I ask you to give birth to me? I'm fucking taking the college entrance examination tomorrow." She woke me up in the middle of the night just to tell me her love story, and I couldn't even refuse, right? What, is your brother's daughter superior? Am I supposed to be her slave, her nanny? It's not that I'm inferior. It's because I was born to someone like you that I'm inferior. I ranted and raved, which stunned my mom. She held her precious niece with both hands. She didn't dare to look me in the eyes and said, "Mom didn't mean that. It's just that Selena is still a patient now. Why are you arguing with her?" Oh my. How dare I? How dare I, the second-class citizen in this family, argue with Mom's noble and dear precious niece? Maybe I'm not your biological child, but even if I'm not, you should have some conscience, right? I'm taking the college entrance examination tomorrow. Could you please be kind-hearted? I'm begging you all. What do you mean by you all? Aren't you part of our family? You're really good at talking, my mom said as she was about to hit me. But I suddenly took a step back, cowed out and made bows at lightning speed, repeating over and over again, "Please be kind-hearted. I'm begging you." This was what my mom used to do to me all the time. Once I started complaining that she treated Selena better than me, she would either beat her chest and cry, saying that I was an ungrateful wretch, or kneel down to me and say, "It's all my fault. I gave birth to you with a lady's body but a maid's fate. I can't give you a good life. You can go to another family." Where could a child under 10 go? I could only stand there in a daze and endure all her negative emotions until she finished her performance. My dad finally spoke up at this time. He dragged me up and said, "Iris, it's late at night. How long are you going to keep making a scene?" I looked up at him and suddenly smiled. "Dad, it's so nice. So you can still talk." Otherwise, I would have thought that my dad knew invisibility in this family. He was so mocked by me that he didn't know what to say for a moment. He wanted to lose his temper, but then he looked at the clock that was almost 2 o'clock. In the end, he just took my mom and the others out and left a sentence, "You have the college entrance examination tomorrow. Go to bed early." I had a cold expression on my face and didn't say a word. After they left, I locked the door with a bang. There was no way I could fall asleep. Even if I slept until dawn, I wouldn't be able to take the exam tomorrow. It had been 7 years since the college entrance examination ended before I transmigrated here. I'm so annoyed. Why did I have to come back to this time? Couldn't I have come back after the exam? I'm really fed up. However, if I don't do well in the exam, those two won't have an easy time either. In my last life, didn't they say that I had delayed them? In this life, I'll be a good person to the end and help them out. As for whether Mackenzie can see it or not, that's up to fate. To be honest, I still feel pain in my neck now. If I weren't afraid of attracting too much attention, I would have wanted to call him right now. And tell him, hurry up, his first love is going abroad. Otherwise, I'll soon transform into a Trisolaran and use physical, mental, and magical means to thwart their epic love. But in this late night, I just posted an insignificant QQ space update. This crappy phone was almost falling apart. Selena had broken it, and my mom had no choice but to give it to me. I saved up money from my living expenses for a long time to get it repaired. In the middle of the night, I was woken up by a crazy woman to listen to her epic love story. The crazy woman thinks she's going abroad tomorrow and maybe the planes will stop after that, so she won't be able to see her crazy boyfriend. After posting it, I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Perhaps I had never vented my anger like this in my previous life. After letting off steam, I slept until dawn. I felt a lot more relaxed. When I turned on my phone, Mackenzie's calls hadn't stopped since last night. Damn it. Great. I hope he performs even worse than me today. The old Iris is long gone. The one who's back now is Iris Zhou, the dark, twisted, and vengeful Iris. Seeing his furious look made my mood even better. +100, +100. Iris, what on earth is going on? What happened to Selena? Iris, you should have basic manners. What's the meaning of that post you made? Are you so dark-hearted that you deliberately want to ruin their college entrance examination? One message after another, it was making my eyes ache from reading them. I didn't think he was so illiterate before. Or is it that I'm the bug in their epic love story and they have to involve me and ask me what I mean? Is it that hard to understand? Am I your father? Do I have to answer all your questions? In response to that, he quickly dialed my phone again. Iris. It turned out that my name could also be spat out with such gritted teeth. Why are you calling me? Making so many calls in the middle of the night. Didn't anyone teach you manners? So you came to bother me? Iris, my patience has its limits. Snap. I hung up the phone directly. You're really something. What do you mean by, my patience has its limits? Has Mackenzie always been this crazy? Apart from the fact that he killed me in my previous life, I even feel like being with him is like having a criminal record. The phone rang again persistently. After thinking for a while, I answered it. Iris, where's Selena? Who do you think you're talking to? Do I owe you something? Why should I care where she is? And why should I tell you, Iris, although I don't know how we offended you, please tell me, okay? It's really important to me. Beg me? Is this your attitude when begging someone? Then why don't you call me Dad and let me hear it? I can't be bothered by you all the time like a father but never hear you call me Dad. Iris, damn it. Are you crazy? What? You don't want to? Then it seems that your relationship isn't that deep. You're not even willing to call me Dad. Then we're doomed to part ways in the future. Oh. Don't tell me you have a histrionic personality? You don't love that much. Why are you pretending to be a devoted lover? The phone was hung up again in a fit of rage. It's really refreshing to have an argument in the early morning. After washing up, I was ready to go downstairs to have some noodles before going to the examination room. Thanks to the chaos caused by Selena last night, my dear parents might have felt a little guilty and actually left me some money for breakfast. I still remember in my previous life, I got up dizzy and cooked an egg for myself as breakfast, because early in the morning, my parents went to send Selena off. The Chinese exam was in the morning. Although I had forgotten most of my high school knowledge after all, it was my mother tongue, so I could still handle it somehow. I finished the exam quickly and rushed out of the examination room first. There was no other reason. Because since a few years ago, almost every year during the college entrance examination, the first examinee to come out would be interviewed. At the corner of the stairs, I deliberately tore open the wound on my forehead to make it bleed more, then I covered my forehead with one hand and ran towards the exit. Throughout the interview, I kept smiling and said that I thought there was hope in life. I wouldn't be beaten because of my cousin anymore after going to college. This interview quickly went viral on the internet. If I just played the victim all the time, maybe not that many people would pay attention. But I created a contrast with hope. The daughter who was disturbed on the eve of the college entrance examination and the mother who hurt her own child for someone else's child. I wouldn't be beaten after going to college. My mother soon became famous because of me. When I returned to the community, many people were pointing at her. When I went back for lunch at noon, I happened to meet her in a rage. Iris, what did you mean by what you said to the reporter? What do you mean? What's wrong, Mom? Your dear baby has gone abroad. Are you still going to beat me, Iris? Have you gone crazy these 2 days? She raised her hand, wanting to hit me but hesitated to do so, because my father was beside her, persuading, forget it. The child is taking the college entrance examination. Don't argue with her. Oh my God. So my parents actually knew that I was taking the college entrance examination. I thought the college entrance examination was just a trifle. Besides, what could be more important than your little Selena, Iris? My mother's slap came down suddenly. Heh. She missed. I'm not stupid anymore. Why should I just stand there and let her hit me? I smiled at her provocatively and said, it seems that Mom doesn't love little Selena that much. You didn't even go abroad to take care of her. Mom's love has faded. You should work harder. Otherwise, if little Selena's parents get divorced, she'll be so pitiful. Oh. Iris, how long are you going to keep making trouble? Oh. We, the poor children who are neither loved by our father nor mother, can't even tell the truth. Unlike little Selena, even if her parents get divorced, there will be other people eager to love her. Why can't I just endure it? When little Selena has a baby, you definitely won't want to have another child. You'll just abort me. That would be good for both me and you. I turned around and sat on the chair, propping my head up and looking at them, saying, Iris, haven't you made enough trouble yet? Where's your upbringing? My father was so angry that he slapped the table, and my mother was beside him, trying to calm down. What's wrong? Now that little Selena has left, you dislike me even more? Then I'll just leave. I got up, opened the door and was about to go out. My mother chased after me. She grabbed my arm and shouted hysterically, Iris, did I do something wrong by giving birth to you? Is this your attitude towards me? I struggled to break free. Her strength was getting stronger and stronger, and my arm was pinched so painfully. Maybe because of my previous injury, I was getting dizzier and dizzier. In a daze, I lost my balance and was pushed down by her directly. I rolled all the way down the stairs. The scenes from my past life and this life flashed through my mind in an instant. I subconsciously reached out to touch my neck. Oh, I had been reborn. This wasn't the wedding scene. The old-fashioned stairs didn't have glass. Then there was a violent impact. This time, it was my knee that hit the steps. A sharp pain came from my bones and skin, and then it turned into a numb pain. My white pants were covered with blood, and I curled up like a shrimp. The intense physical pain made me cry out involuntarily. My father rushed down in a panic. Iris, how are you? How are you? I looked at them coldly and suddenly laughed, saying, I'm not dead yet. Mom and Dad, you should keep working hard. Our commotion attracted the neighbors in the corridor. I was sent to the hospital by the kind neighbors. The scene was chaotic. There were voices of enthusiastic people criticizing my parents, my father's explanations, and the loud noise of my mother slamming the door in anger. I didn't feel anything, as if my whole being was emptied. The blood on my leg was flowing more and more, and my head was spinning terribly. It wasn't until I arrived at the hospital and the doctor was treating my wound, and the pain when it was touched again, that I woke up. It wasn't all bad. At least since I missed this exam, I didn't have to go to the following ones either. I also didn't have to find excuses for why I would do terribly in this college entrance examination. There was something even better. I wasn't the only one who missed the exam. Mackenzie didn't even go to the Chinese exam. He bought a big bunch of sunflowers mixed with baby's breath to see Selena off. Then he pretentiously posted a moment. You ask me if it's worth it, but you've already been everything to me. The picture attached was a photo of the flowers, Selena's back at the airport, and the flower language of baby's breath found online, which means the love of silent guardianship. Whoa, so touching. I was so touched that I ate an extra chicken leg at noon in the hospital. Oh. I'm just afraid that you two don't love each other enough. Because of the injury and hospitalization, I didn't participate in the following exams of the college entrance examination. The reporter who had interviewed me before learned about this and interviewed me again. I burst into tears in front of the camera and said, I don't know why it turned out like this. I really prepared for a long time. This interview was quite long, and combined with the testimonies of the neighbors around, my parents became really famous throughout the whole city. My mother called me in a rage, asking me what exactly I wanted. Wherever she and my father went now, people were pointing at them. My usually weak father even got angry with her rarely. I smiled and said, it should be me asking Mom what you want. Do you really want my life? When I said this, I couldn't help thinking of the scenes in my previous life. She really wanted my life back then. At that time, she was worried that Selena didn't have enough money abroad and most of the family's money supported her. But our family didn't seem that poor to outsiders, and I couldn't even apply for financial aid. At the beginning of my freshman year, they paid my tuition for me. But later, they asked me to support myself by working part-time. At that time, she cried and said to me, Iris, children from poor families should learn to be independent early. This is our situation. You should understand us. Throughout my 4 years in college, I hardly had a day off. I was always running back and forth between school and part-time jobs. I wore my high school coat until I graduated from college. My roommates couldn't bear it and gave me their clothes that they didn't wear anymore. I was in a mess every day. While my peers were full of youth and vitality, I was like a stinky rat in the gutter, afraid of others seeing my embarrassment. Meanwhile, what was Selena doing? At the age of 19, she traveled from New York to Philadelphia with the money sponsored by my parents. When I saw that moment's post, I was furious and went to argue with my mother. But she scolded me in an unbelievable tone. Selena's leg is already like that. You know she's in a bad mood, and cut her arm with a knife and was sent to the emergency room in the middle of the night. Do you have to compete with her? Is death such a scary thing? I didn't want to live long ago. If I wanted to die, I wouldn't just cut a wound that would heal even if I was sent to the hospital late. I'm sure you wouldn't even know if I had died for a long time. Iris, I'm your mother. How can you scare me like this? What do you want me to do? She was crying bitterly on the other end of the phone. Her tears were like a swamp that swallowed me up, dragging me down bit by bit, rotting with her. Children naturally love their parents. I was always tamed by her way of giving me a slap and then a sweet date at that time. Just like after I made a fuss that day, she surprisingly sent me a red envelope of 200 yuan. But along with the red envelope was a long voice message. I've been having knee pain recently and my lungs seem to be a bit uncomfortable too. I don't even dare to go to the doctor. She used all her means of manipulating people on me and gave all her kindness and thoughtfulness to her original family. I naturally didn't accept that red envelope. Even during my student days, I would use some of the scholarship money and the money I earned from part-time jobs to subsidize them. When did I start to wake up? Selena was like a bottomless pit. She seemed to have to feel her own value through others' sacrifices for her. And she got used to it. She learned to smoke marijuana and drink heavily in the United States. She got uremia in the year I graduated and needed a kidney transplant. My mother didn't hesitate to ask me to go for a matching test. She said it casually, Iris, one can live with just one kidney. You are blood relatives. Mom is begging you. In that instant, I was completely awakened. She didn't love herself, let alone me. I would never let her use my life like an object. That was the first time I started to refuse her. She said all kinds of mean and abusive words to me. She cursed me, wondering why it wasn't me who got sick. I was completely awakened by her attacks again and again. It wasn't me who asked her to give birth to me. She didn't do me any favors. I don't owe anyone anything. If no one is nice to me, I'll be nice to myself. I will live for myself. I must live for myself, perhaps because of rebirth. Compared to my previous life, my father started to change a little. But I didn't need it. He brought my mother to the hospital several times, but I drove them away every time. As soon as he came, I would make a big fuss like crazy. Haven't you hurt me enough? My college entrance examination has been ruined now. Are you satisfied? They didn't like me mentioning this, but I just had to mention it. Iris, I'm your mother. Are you going to blame me? It was always this sentence, always the same one. In my previous life, I didn't donate my kidney. They sold the house just to get more funds for Selena. Then they came to me penniless and said, Iris, it doesn't matter. You live your good life. We don't have that kind of fate. I couldn't bear it anymore and laughed angrily. How dare I blame Mom? My mom is the best mom in the world. She let me experience a unique life as a slave. My mom is the kindest mom in the world. Mom, I'm afraid my life isn't enough for you to mess around with. While you're still young, you should hurry up and have a few more children. Otherwise, little Bounding will be so pitiful without a nanny and a slave in the future. Iris. She raised her hand to hit me. I covered my mouth and continued laughing as I looked at her. What's the matter, Mom? Did I hit the nail on the head? Oh. So you deliberately ruined my college entrance examination because you were afraid that I would spend money on my studies or that I wouldn't be easy to control in the future and wouldn't be a slave anymore, right? Good heavens, Mom really has good intentions. I'm really touched by Mom's love for little Bounding all the time. God, open your eyes. Why didn't you make Mom and little Bounding biological mother and daughter? The slap didn't fall as my father stopped her firmly. Surprise. What a surprise. My father would stop her now. The world has changed. I laughed so hard that my stomach hurt. After finally catching my breath, I continued, Mom, go ahead and hit me. I know I mentioned little Bounding again and touched Mom's sensitive spot. Iris, what have I done to you? Did I owe you something just because I gave birth to you? How could Mom owe me anything? It's me who owes Mom. It's my fault. I should have strangled myself in Mom's womb. I was so thoughtless that I dared to be born from Mom's womb and made little Bounding feel wronged. But Mom, I've even sacrificed my college entrance examination for the noble little Bounding and served as a slave and a nanny for her for so many years. Isn't that enough? Little Bounding is so noble. How can a slave like me serve her? Let me give Mom an idea. Having children is a business. You should make it bigger and stronger. Have a few more children. Then you'll have more income when you ask for debts in the future, and little Bounding will be even happier. Iris, that's enough. This result today isn't what your mother and I wanted. What can you get by constantly attacking your mother like this? Dad, you're too late to say this. You should have scolded me earlier. As a live-in son-in-law, you should have the awareness of one. Your children are slaves of the Lao Ji family. The money you earn and you yourself belong to the Lao Ji family. Now wake up quickly and help the Lao Ji family have a few more slaves and nannies earlier. Remember to control it and don't have sons. Sons are not as easy to control as daughters. Anyway, you really should have a sense of crisis. What if they drive you out of the house in the future? I'm really worried. Forget it. We won't talk to you anymore. You're so crazy now. Hee hee. They just left like that, alas. It seems that Mom and Dad aren't that scary after all. Then what was I afraid of in my previous life? And I was so slow to take the first step. It takes 100 days to recover from broken bones and injured sinews. After staying in the hospital for a week, I limped out of the hospital. I went back to our old family home in the countryside. There were 12,000 yuan hidden in the adobe bricks there. It was left to me by my grandma before she passed away. She was very farsighted and worried that I would have a hard life after she left. The little old lady really loved me. She would take a long bus ride to come home to see me. She was even afraid that Selena would bully me and would give her pocket money to please her. I pried open the adobe bricks under the bed and took out the money wrapped in layer after layer of handkerchiefs. Tears welled up in my eyes. Oh. Why couldn't I be reborn earlier? She hadn't enjoyed the good life I could bring her yet. In my previous life, I also survived on this money. I used it to buy goods and set up street stalls when I was in college, but it was only enough to cover food and clothing. I was afraid of losing all my capital if I opened an online store, and then I wouldn't be able to survive. It's not so troublesome in this life. Since its rebirth, there is still some information gap. I've done some research on stocks. I have an impression of most of the stocks that skyrocketed in these years. I took my ID card, went to the bank to apply for a bank card, and bought a fairly good second-hand mobile phone online. Before I started my repeat year of study, this money had turned into more than 270,000 yuan. I suddenly felt confident. It's so nice. Money emboldens the timid. At this time, in order to make me give in, my mother hadn't given me a penny for 2 whole months. I was happy to be on my own and directly went back to live in my grandma's old house. When my father came back from a business trip, he asked me how I had been living during this period. Why, are you curious about how I'm still alive, dear Dad? Iris, can you not be so sharp? Dad doesn't know. Oh, Dad will never know. If I really starved to death and the grass on my grave was 3 meters high, Dad might even cry at the wrong grave. Forget it. I don't want to argue with you about this. What are your plans for the future? You need money for repeating your studies too. Don't quarrel with your mother anymore. As he said this, he was about to take out money for me. I quickly jumped far away. Hey. Don't. I won't take it. You're even worse than loan sharks. You'll ask me to pay with my life later. I don't dare to take it. Besides, this is little Bowning's money. I don't even dare to look at it. Iris, how long are you going to keep making trouble? Without money, how on earth have you been living during this period? Are you just thinking of asking me how I've been living now? Don't you know? Now the whole city knows that I'm even worse off than an orphan. Orphans can still get a state subsidy of 1,200 yuan every month. Everyone pities me. I just go out with a bowl every day, and someone will be kind-hearted and give me food. The more I talked, the uglier his face became. Later, there was even a trace of guilt in his eyes. Too bad I don't need it. Hee hee. I changed my tone and continued sarcastically, oh. Don't mention it, Dad. You've had a blessing in disguise. Hurry up and have a few more children with Mom for the Lao Ji family. Now the whole society knows that you're having children for the Lao Ji family to be slaves. In the future, these slaves can go out and play the victim to win sympathy, and you won't even need to give them leftovers. It's a business with huge profits. Little Bowning will be so happy again. My father couldn't bear to listen anymore and fled in a hurry, leaving 2,000 yuan behind. Hee hee. Who cares? I went to the post office the next day and sent it to his workplace. There was a heartwarming note on it, the best dad in the whole world. I don't know why Dad has suddenly changed. It makes me worry that my good dad has been possessed by something evil and actually wants to be a father. But Dad, you should understand your identity. Are you qualified to use your money? Do you need to care about your children? You're not an ordinary man. You're a live-in son-in-law with a strong will. The children you gave birth to are slaves, not children you want to love. If you dare to give a whole 2,000 yuan as a tip to slaves today, will you dare not serve the Lao Ji family tomorrow? Then your precious little Bowning will resent you. Will you blame me again then? It's true that someone gave me food. When I returned to the village, most people probably knew about my situation, and many of them invited me to their homes for meals. I was quite touched. It was like a rotten corpse suddenly being bathed in sunlight, warm. It was as if I had gone back to the time before I went crazy. However, I didn't need to eat at other people's homes. Before she passed away, Grandma had stored 3,000 caddies of grain for me in the barn. She was really afraid that I would go hungry. Before she took her last breath, she tightly held my father's hand and told him not to sell the grain. My father agreed. After she looked at me, she closed her eyes. Later, not long after that, my mother said that the grain would go bad if it was stored for too long and would be worthless. So she and Dad sold more than 1,000 caddies of it. It wasn't until my father had nightmares again and again, dreaming that Grandma was questioning him, that he didn't dare to sell it anymore. After that, they never went back to the old house again. Only I would come back to clean it during every winter and summer vacation. I didn't want to see the old house in ruins. I always felt that if I cleaned it thoroughly, it would be like Grandma was still here. The grain in the barn had been stored for more than 3 years, and Grandma had been gone for more than 3 years too. I carried a basket on my back to the threshing ground in the village to have the grain processed into rice, then went home and steamed the rice. The leeks planted by Grandma on the back mountain were still growing luxuriantly. With the eggs given by the aunt in the village, I fried a dish of leek and eggs. I also put a plate of food in front of Grandma's portrait, as if she was still having dinner with me. Grandma, why couldn't I come back earlier? There were also 7 peach trees planted by Grandma in the yard. They didn't bear much fruit before, but this year they bore an unusually large amount. Each tree bore 200 or 300 caddies of peaches. My daily routine was to go to the market to sell peaches in the morning, have dinner and read books in the old house in the afternoon, and check stocks at night. When my father knew about the peach trees, he came to see me once and praised me. "Iris, Dad knows you've become sensible and know how to earn money by yourself, so you don't want Dad's money. Oh, your mother is also very concerned about you. Are you being self-moved again, my good dad? Do you know why the peach trees suddenly bear so many peaches this year? Grandma said it's because you've been so nice to me that the peach trees bear more fruit to reward you." I looked at him with a smile and said, "The sky in the afternoon was so dusky that it was a bit scary. The shadows of the trees were dancing, and the unknown birds in the distance were screeching." He looked at the old house in panic, left a sentence, "Dad has something to do," and left, "Are you afraid of ghosts?" "I'm not. I really want to meet one. Otherwise, it's too lonely to be alone in this world." Soon it was the start of the new semester. My situation was rather special. Although I didn't take the college entrance examination, my results in the previous mock exams and previous final exams were quite good. The school teachers took the initiative to approach me. On the one hand, they said they could waive my tuition fees, and on the other hand, they could also sponsor my living expenses. I refused and asked the teachers to leave it for those in need. They asked me how I would manage my life, so I made up a story and said that I won 100,000 yuan from scratch cards. Because if I said it was from stocks, there would surely be a lot more explanations needed. The teachers were quite touched by my act and told me to keep the fact that I won the prize a secret, as they probably knew about what had happened during the college entrance examination. In the end, the tuition fee was waived, and the living expenses were sponsored for another classmate from a poor family. As soon as the semester started, I saw Mackenzie in the new class. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with hatred. He walked straight towards me, knocked on my desk and said, "Come out. I have something to say to you." "Why? Just because you tell me to go out, should I?" I rolled my eyes at him. "Fine. If you want to talk here and don't mind losing face, that's okay. You're also a girl. Don't you feel guilty for ruining another girl's reputation?" "Why should anyone feel guilty? Just because they told the truth. The one who took over someone else's place didn't feel guilty. The one who disturbed students who were about to take the college entrance examination in the middle of the night didn't feel guilty. The one who took all the advantages shamelessly didn't feel guilty. Why should normal people like us feel guilty? What bad luck to be in the same class as someone like you." The one who spoke was my desk mate Cecilia, a lovely girl. She might not be good at arguing with others. After saying these words, her face turned bright red. Mackenzie used to have an image of being good-looking, polite, and a top student. No one had ever mocked him like this before. He was so tongue-tied for a moment that he kicked over the desk beside him. Then he turned around and strode away. When he reached the door, the owner of the desk, who had just come back from the toilet, cursed loudly, "Damn it. Who's so ill-mannered that they knocked over someone's desk and didn't even pick it up?" Mackenzie paused. It was awkward for him to pick it up or not, so he had to leave in a hurry. Cecilia and I went to help pick up the books. Cecilia couldn't help saying, "Look who ran away the fastest. That's the one." During the year of repeating studies, my life was actually quite ordinary. I didn't show off much. Perhaps because I was cautious by nature, I was afraid of revealing my wealth and attracting the attention of bad people. And since I was alone, I didn't have much ability to protect myself. So my classmates even thought that I was very poor for a while. During the break, some classmates would give me snacks. Those who were willing to repeat studies were generally children from ordinary families. Comparatively speaking, the college entrance examination was a very important, or even the only, way out. Before the end of the first semester, just the earnings from stocks had reached over 1 million yuan. At this time, there was also a crucial time node. That was the start of the FIFA World Cup. In my previous life, I had heard many boys in the class discussing it privately, and my father would also buy some sports lottery tickets. I only remembered 2 or 3 special scores, but I remembered clearly which teams won and lost. This year, the champion and runner-up were Germany and Argentina, and the third and fourth places were the Netherlands and Brazil. There was another reason why I remembered it so clearly. I was too busy in the following days and never paid attention to other World Cups. I bought a lot of lottery tickets for the results that I remembered clearly. Soon, that 1 million plus yuan grew to over 10 million yuan, and because I was afraid of attracting attention, I sometimes took a taxi to other districts to buy lottery tickets. I didn't let anyone know about this money. To be honest, when the money arrived in my card, I felt my hands were shaking. I had never seen so much money in my whole life, including my previous life and this life. With money, many things became much more convenient. For high school knowledge, I specially hired famous teachers to give me tutoring, and for some courses, I attended classes with my classmates in the class. I told everyone that a kind-hearted person sponsored me. Of course, for the sake of his self-esteem, Mackenzie wouldn't attend classes with us, and he seemed to be very busy every day. I learned from my classmates that he was working part-time every day now. He wanted to save money to visit Selena during the winter vacation. However clever a person is, if they don't cherish their talent, God will take it back. He dropped from being in the top 10 of the grade to outside the top 100. Soon the winter vacation arrived. Except for the time for tutoring, we only had about 10 days of rest. Of course, Mackenzie didn't get to see Selena. His family had already been very much against the fact that he gave up the college entrance examination last time. Naturally, they wouldn't give him extra money to pursue his love. And most of the money he earned from his part-time jobs was either sent to Selena because he was worried that she wasn't living well, or used to buy her gifts as surprises. He had already been spending more than he earned, so naturally, he didn't save enough money for the plane ticket. During the winter vacation, our former classmates came back. We also had a class reunion together. When we were singing in the KTV, a classmate who hadn't had much interaction with me before suddenly handed me a card. I was stunned on the spot. The one who handed me the card was Silas, who was the top student in the grade. In my impression, I hadn't talked to him many times. Moreover, he seemed to be good friends with Mackenzie and they were in the same group. I smiled politely and said, "Thank you for your kindness. I'm not that hard up. I didn't want to get involved in this." In my previous life, I actually cared a lot at first about the fact that Mackenzie and Selena were about to be together. At first, I had never thought that I would be with him, but I had a crush on him. When I was in high school, I had very little living expenses. My mother had calculated precisely how much I should spend. The money I had at school was only enough for me to buy vegetarian dishes. Sometimes, when I didn't bring sanitary napkins from home in time during my period and used my meal card, I couldn't even afford vegetarian dishes. At that time, I was really hungry and also really greedy. I would even secretly go to restaurants to wash dishes to get a meal with some meat. They paid 10 yuan per hour. I didn't dare to touch the money left by my grandma at all. It's easy to go from frugality to luxury, but hard to go from luxury to frugality. I was afraid that once I started using it, I would use it up unconsciously. I had to go to college. What if they didn't pay my tuition fees for me? So I kept enduring like this until one day when I suddenly found that there seemed to be several hundred yuan more on my meal card every month. At first, I thought it was the poverty subsidy from the school to protect our self-esteem, and I thought I should study even harder. That money really made my life a lot easier. Until one day, I went back to the classroom early and saw Mackenzie stealing my meal card from my desk. I was so angry at that time. I thought to myself that I was already so poor, and he still had no conscience. I originally wanted to secretly follow him to catch him red-handed. But then I saw that he recharged 500 yuan onto that meal card. It's hard to describe how I felt at that time. I was stunned there. In my past life, except for my grandma, I had never thought that anyone would do this for me. Those feelings grew unconsciously. Later, when I found out about his relationship with Selena, I was actually a bit sad. But because of this, my tolerance for him grew higher and higher. I played the role of a messenger in their relationship. He asked me to take good care of Selena for him, and I did all that. When Selena was sick, I cooked porridge for her, washed clothes for her, and helped her with her homework. Even my mother praised me for doing a good job. That was the lowest point of my self-esteem. For a while, I even hoped that he hadn't given that money, so that I wouldn't have to bear such moral pressure. I always felt that I should repay him. Later, when he and Selena separated, he was so lonely. He got drunk every day and was unconscious. It was also me who sent him home late at night after I started working part-time. I tried every way to encourage and help him. After being reborn, I wanted to end this cause and effect. I gave him 10,000 yuan. He was a bit stunned at first. I directly mentioned the matter of the meal card. He was silent and didn't say a word. But he didn't take the money either. Later, when he and Selena got together and his financial situation became more and more difficult, I found the right moment to offer that money again. He clenched his fist and finally said, "I'll consider this as a loan and pay you back later." There was no later anymore. This person would never have anything to do with me again. Cecilia knew about the matter of the meal card, but she had always thought that the money might not be from Mackenzie. I thought that if it wasn't his, he wouldn't have kept silent about it. When Silas handed me the card, Cecilia was beside me. She deliberately said loudly, "Hey. Our Iris doesn't need it." Hey. Last time, Mackenzie secretly transferred money into her card and she found out. She's already paid back many times more than that. What? That money wasn't his. It was Silas who asked him to transfer it into the meal card. A boy beside Silas immediately said. As soon as the words were spoken, Mackenzie happened to come back from the toilet. He muttered, "I didn't say the money was from me. I said the money you gave was a loan." "Then why didn't you say it wasn't yours?" Cecilia retorted. Mackenzie stood there with a flushed face, at a loss. Seeing the strange looks from everyone in the private room, he lifted his foot to leave, but then turned back and said to me, "Iris, I'll give it back to you tomorrow." I didn't look at him. I lowered my head to peel an orange and gave half to Cecilia. Mackenzie couldn't stay any longer and fled in a hurry. Suddenly, a slender hand handed me a tissue. I looked up at the owner of the hand. Under the light, his eyes were like stars in the sky. I held the orange and didn't know what to say for a moment. He reached out and took half of the orange and said, "Thank you." Cecilia winked at me and said, "Humph. You're a person who values beauty over friendship." "No, it's not." The more I explained, the more confused it seemed, as if I was trying to cover up something that didn't exist. Silas's eyes crinkled with a smile. He couldn't help laughing. This was the first time I saw him smile so happily. After the class reunion ended, he walked me back to the hotel. Yes, I didn't live at home anymore. Before the holidays, I always stayed in my grandma's old house in the countryside. This time, I came specifically to attend the class reunion. On the way, we chatted casually. He said he was sorry that he hadn't been able to help me during the college entrance examination and didn't know how to help. The only thing he thought could help me was money. In fact, he had given Mackenzie over 1,000 yuan every month before and asked him to give it to me. It was just because Mackenzie told him that I didn't need it and didn't give a reason that he came to ask me in person. Why? Silas, I remember your financial situation isn't that good either. Iris, you're so smart. Don't you know why? The cool night breeze blew up the hem of my skirt. I lowered my head and didn't dare to look into his eyes again. Suddenly, a denim jacket was placed on my shoulders. Iris, come on. I'll be waiting for you at Tsinghua University. Huh? Really? Is this guy making a dry joke? In my previous life, I tried my best, and the best I could achieve was just getting into a 985 university. And I already thought I was amazing at that time. Now that I'm taking the exams again, I'd be happy if I could get into a first-tier university. Tsinghua University? Why not say that Tsinghua University and Peking University will be competing to enroll me? I frowned in embarrassment. He reached out his hand towards my face, but when it was about to get close, he withdrew it. Under the street lamp, I saw his ears turn bright red. I remembered that Silas wasn't that well off financially. I had seen him tutoring others to earn money before. It made me feel quite embarrassed because I had asked him questions several times. All those were the fruits of his labor. But it didn't seem right to just give him money directly. So when the peaches in the old house were ripe, I picked a big bag of them for him. We were seated in the front and back at school, so it was inevitable that I would ask him questions. So every year I gave him a big bag of peaches. He always looked cold and I didn't dare to disturb him too much. I just didn't expect. Forget it. Don't think about it. I still have to hurry up and study hard again to prepare for the college entrance examination. After staying in a hotel for one night, when I went downstairs, Silas had already ordered breakfast for me. He had gone back to his school as he was said to have a lot of work to do. He really deserved to be called a top student. He was so busy even in his freshman year. The breakfast was all my favorites, including dry mixed red oil wontons, black soybean milk, and soup dumplings. I thought I should keep my heart calm. Love is precious, but life is even more valuable. Especially now that I could be considered a wealthy woman to some extent. Forget it. Forget it. After having breakfast, I went back to the old house. In the afternoon, I received a courier. I rode a bike to the town to pick it up. It was a sack of books and notes, all neatly sorted out. As I looked at them, I couldn't help sighing that Silas' notes were so neatly written that they could be sold as top student notes. While I was reviewing, I also received a phone call. It was from Mackenzie. He asked me to meet him, saying that he wanted to give me some money. Not wanting to spoil my mood, I sent him my bank card number. There was no need for us to meet. I had no choice when we were at school. Maybe God understood what I meant. When school started, Mackenzie didn't show up as expected. It turned out that the money was for him to buy a plane ticket to see Selena. Selena didn't wait for him and suspected that he was cheating on her, so she cut her wrists and tried to commit suicide. It was said that her hands were soaked in the bathtub, and she was directly sent to the ICU after being taken to the hospital. Mackenzie went on a hunger strike at home for 3 days. His parents had no choice but to send him to see Selena in the end. Interesting. More interesting than those cheesy soap operas at 8 o'clock. Selena's suicide attempt didn't have no impact on me at all, because my mother came to me again. She called me at night and said, Selena tried to commit suicide. Didn't you know? Yes, I know. Then what did you do? I bought firecrackers and fireworks. Iris, are you even human? I don't know. It depends on whether you're human or not. After all, you gave birth to me. There was a deep gasp on the other end of the phone. I quickly comforted her. Mom, don't be angry. I bought the fireworks and firecrackers for your own good too. For my good? Listen. While still on the phone, I set off a bunch of them by the riverbank beside the community. A loud bang was heard on the other end of the phone. Then I continued, little Selena is already in the ICU. What are you doing now? Why don't you hurry up and take care of her? Are you worthy of her? Even if you don't rush over there, then you should quickly have another child. I'm already out of control. Why don't you hurry up and make the next one? You're not even focused on your work. How dare you rest at this time? Is there enough money for little Selena? Mom, I'm so disappointed in you. If it weren't for cheering you on, do you think I would buy these fireworks? The phone was hung up directly. I was speechless. I still had a lot of heartfelt words that I hadn't said yet. More than a month after school started, Mackenzie finally came to school. It's just that the story between him and Selena had spread so widely. One noon, a boy talked to him, and his mother saw it. She immediately scolded him harshly. "I'm telling you, stay away from him. If you become like him, I'll take you with me and die together." The boy was afraid that his mother would say something more extreme, so he quickly dragged her to the cafeteria. Maybe Selena was really short of money over there. Mackenzie skipped classes more and more often just to save money and send it to her. His parents had no choice but to give him some money a few times. But after all, they were just an ordinary family, and they couldn't afford such a burden if they gave more. They could only let him do as he pleased. Soon it was time for the college entrance examination again. I didn't have any feelings of fear or anxiety. Anyway, the result of this exam wouldn't have a great impact on my life. Surprisingly, my mother actually bought me a dress and even brought me some food. Of course, I didn't dare to eat it. She just said that I was very sensible and capable and that she was very relieved. She said it wasn't that she didn't care about me, but that she really had no choice. I said I understood and comforted her. "It's okay. I'll get used to it. Use me as an experiment first. When Mom has more children who are like slaves in the future, you'll be even more numb. Mom is a superpower, Mom. The children you give birth to can grow up on their own without being taken care of. When they grow up, they'll still be good slaves. Little Selena is really lucky in the future." She was so provoked by me that she wanted to scold me but couldn't get the words out. Looking at the examinees coming and going, she finally just said, "Iris, when you grow up, you'll understand Mom. After you finish the exam, Mom has something to tell you." Oh. I'm curious again. What kind of outrageous and strange thing would make my mother endure so much today? The 3-day exam ended quickly. I might have been affected by PTSD. During this period, I even hired a female bodyguard. I really didn't want any more accidents and have to go back to high school again. As soon as I walked out of the examination room, a tall and beautiful young lady handed me a bag. Inside were a long dress from Dior and a gold bracelet. Because it was Cecilia's mother's birthday on the day when the college entrance examination ended. Since Cecilia's mother cooked delicious food, in the last semester, she always cooked 2 meals and brought them to Cecilia and me. I gave her money but she didn't want it. I had no choice but to take Cecilia to buy 2 stocks. Of course, to prevent her from getting addicted, I also made up all kinds of reasons like I dreamed about it and I dreamed about it for 2 consecutive years and so on. All kinds of lies. After all, I couldn't say that I was reborn. Since it was her mother's birthday today, I naturally had to show my gratitude. When my mother saw the bag I was carrying, she reached out to take it and said, "Iris, you're finally sensible. Mom won't blame you for what happened before. This isn't for Mom. I'm not little Selena. How could I buy something that would satisfy Mom? This is a birthday gift for my classmate's mother." "You bought it for your classmate's mother but not for me? Did you give me anything for my birthday last year?" "Last year? I hadn't been reborn at that time. Where would I get the money? Besides, I had bought her things before. When I was in primary school, I saved money to buy her a bunch of flowers." She slapped me so hard that my nose bled. She said I stole the money to buy them. Finally, it was confirmed that it was my saved pocket money, but she didn't give me any apology. When I was in the 3rd year of junior high school, I bought her a birthday cake with the money I earned from part-time jobs. She threw it on the ground directly and scolded me for what was the use of buying it. She scolded me for only knowing how to waste money. Because at that time, Selena couldn't get into high school and it was certain that she would have to pay the school selection fee. Even though she didn't live in our house at that time, she was always concerned about her. I remembered that after she left angrily, I dug up the cream on the surface with a spoon and ate it. That was the first time I ate a birthday cake in my life. Grandma didn't understand these things, and I didn't feel right to ask her for one. She would always buy me those small cakes sold by the pound. I regretted a little at that time. I should have bought it for Grandma. It seemed that Grandma had never eaten a birthday cake either. But Grandma didn't wait for my birthday cake. She passed away before her birthday. Looking at my fierce mother in front of me, I calmed down again and said, Mom has little Selena. Why did I buy it for my classmate's mother? Mom, you may not know that I'm the kind of person who is neither loved by my father nor mother. I'm in desperate need of love. I want to call anyone on the street Mom or Dad. Seeing that the atmosphere between us became tense again, her hand was raised again. I quickly hid behind the bodyguard and said, look. Mom is going to hit me again to vent her anger because of little Selena. That's why I'm so lacking in motherly love. My classmate's mother is so nice. She won't hit me, won't scold me, and even cooks for me every day. I never thought I could meet such a good mother in my life. Who is she? She's the bodyguard I hired. You. Where did you get the money? It was given by the parents I recognized recently. I was just talking nonsense, Iris. Do you have to guard against me to this extent? I'm your biological mother. Yes, I have to. If it could be proved that I'm not your biological child, I would send you to prison for the crime of intentional injury. You. She wanted to hit me but couldn't reach me. She wanted to scold me but couldn't bear my sarcasm. She took several deep breaths and finally pleaded, Mom was wrong before. Mom will change in the future. Mom will pay for your college tuition and living expenses. But Mom begs you for one thing, okay? What is it? Selena has uremia and needs a kidney. Please, for Mom's sake, accompany me to do the matching test, okay? Mom really only asks you for this one thing in her whole life. Damn it. Selena is moving so fast. Oh my God. How could this happen? What if something happens to little Selena and Mom can't take care of others in the future? Iris, are you still throwing a tantrum at this time? Are you competing with her? I'm just asking you one question. Will you help me or not? Of course. I knew it. I won't help. Then from now on, just pretend that I'm not your mother. Fine. I gave birth to you for nothing in this life. Yes. Just think that I'm unlucky. I'm so miserable. Right. You beast. You beast. You deserve to die a horrible death. God will surely punish you. I took out my mobile phone expressionlessly and started recording a video. Then I said with a smile, Mom is really good at scolding. It seems that Mom wants to be as famous as last year. Only this time, I'll put little Bowning's photos up. I'll also post it in the Chinese community in the United States. Oh. I wonder if little Bowning, with uremia, tries to commit suicide again, whether she can really die this time. She reached out to snatch my mobile phone but was stopped by my bodyguard. I looked at her without fear and said, Mom, not causing trouble for me is the greatest blessing for your little Bowning. If I were you, I would either work hard to earn more money to let little Bowning enjoy more happiness, or go worship the Bodhisattva more and try to have a second child so that little Bowning can be your real child. That way, you can continue your bond. Why bother to trouble me, a slave who has already rebelled? These words completely enraged her. She raised the milk tea she had bought for me and was about to throw it at me. I held my mobile phone and looked at her with a smile. Finally, her hand paused in midair and then she turned around and left without hesitation. As soon as the college entrance examination results came out, Silas called. How did you do in the exam, Iris? Sorry. I didn't get into Tsinghua University. I got into a university in Beijing. Peking University? Peking University is okay too. It's not far from me. There was unexpectedly excitement on the other side of the phone. I even doubted if I had heard wrong. After all, Silas seldom showed emotional fluctuations when he spoke. When we were studying before, I even suspected that he might be an AI. To avoid embarrassment for both of us, I quickly interrupted him and said, well, I got into a university in Beijing. It's not the one abbreviated as PKU. It doesn't matter. It's great that you can come to Beijing. We'll be in the same city, and there will be many chances to meet. Ugh. How come even a study god can make such assumptions? I'm going to the capital, of course, to make money. When else should I invest in companies or buy houses if not now? But it's not easy to say it directly. Let's just consider it a beautiful misunderstanding. However, although I didn't get into Peking University, Cecilia did. Hee hee. That's also a great thing. This way, I'll have connections with people from both Tsinghua University and Peking University. I'll bring wealth and rush towards future entrepreneurs and scientists. By this year, my total income had already reached 20 million yuan. It's just that Cecilia didn't seem very happy. She was very puzzled. Clearly, my grades were so good before repeating the year of study. Why were my results in the following exams not ideal? She even suspected that I might have hurt my brain when I fell down the stairs. I was looking at the transcript cheerfully. After all, I had even managed to get into a 211 university. Not bad, not bad. I'm really excellent. She reached out and put her hand on my shoulder, looking serious, and said, Iris, you shouldn't have got this result. There are also people who do better in their second year of repeating. Do you want to work harder so that we can study at Peking University together? I'm not crazy. Am I asking for trouble? I expressed my gratitude and then refused. Haha, maybe the result would be even worse next time, and I might not even be able to get into a first-tier university. Right now, I don't have much, but I'm quite self-aware. Perhaps my grandma helped me out down there with this result. When it comes to grandma, I felt a bit sad again. I quickly asked someone to build a luxurious tomb for her and burned 20 caddies of paper money for her. Before, I was only brave enough to burn it for her privately for fear that others would think about my financial situation. As for now, with bodyguards around, I feel a bit more secure. The villagers were very warm-hearted. They gave me a bunch of fruits and melons and asked me where I got the money. I said it was a reward from the school for my good grades. I also gave the bodyguard sister the identity of a teacher. The main idea is that when you're out and about, you can give yourself an identity. On my way back, when passing the muddy country road, I held back and thought I'd better come up with reasons after going to college for a year or two. Don't show off your wealth. Don't show off your wealth. I didn't deliberately inquire about what happened to Mackenzie and Selena later, but they were so famous that I could always hear gossip about them from other classmates. Mackenzie took the college entrance examination this time. Barely, he finally got into a second-tier university. However, he didn't go. He wasn't going to repeat the year of study either. Instead, he went abroad to donate a kidney to Selena. What a touching love story. I thought they would stay in the United States and I would never see them again, but in my sophomore year, they returned to China. By then, Mackenzie's leg was already lame. During his days in the United States, he seemed to have had a really hard time. He had no educational background and no special skills. After spending all the money he took with him, he could only earn a living by washing dishes and waiting tables. And Selena had been used to spending extravagantly. After losing a kidney and living such a hard life, his body couldn't bear it at all. Less than a year after arriving in the United States, he had already started taking medicine, and by then, Selena's mother had disappeared without a trace. Having no other choice, after struggling for another year, they chose to return to China. After returning to China, Mackenzie originally wanted to ask his parents for some support. But he found that his mother had already given birth to a second child and clearly told him that everything in the family was reserved for his younger brother. It had nothing to do with him anymore. All these changes happened so quickly. No matter how Mackenzie begged his parents, he only got the reply, "You're already grown up. This is the path you chose yourself. You can't blame us." Selena originally wanted to take them to live at my parents' place, but the house at my parents had been sold by them to pay for her operation. So, reluctantly, Mackenzie had to rent a house and work part-time to support her. My parents were old and couldn't take care of themselves. The subsidy given by my mother was limited. Slowly, Selena's mood became more and more irritable. She hurt herself more and more often. She always asked Mackenzie whether he hated her and whether he blamed her. No matter how Mackenzie explained, she didn't believe him, and Mackenzie was already overwhelmed by all kinds of heavy physical jobs every day. He became less and less patient with her. The breaking point of the conflict was when Mackenzie finally found a part-time job in a bar. But there he saw Selena kissing a man. He rushed over and punched the man. Soon, he was pinned to the ground by the man's followers. During the conflict, someone hit him with a stool. His left leg was broken on the spot. Afterwards, the man compensated a little money. And Selena directly moved out of their rental house. Before leaving, she accused Mackenzie, "Mackenzie, I have no other way. I just feel that I'm dragging you down to death, that I can only do this. I'm sorry to you in this life. I'll repay you in the next life." She left without hesitation, only leaving him a messy and moldy room. He looked at himself in the bathroom mirror and felt so strange. He was wondering how he had become like this. That night, he drank a lot of alcohol. Drunk, he asked Selena to meet him. He said that he still couldn't let her go and wanted to give her a gift that she would never forget in her life. Perhaps Selena was too confident. She actually thought that Mackenzie wouldn't blame her. She went to the appointment excitedly. As a result, he splashed a bottle of sulfuric acid on her face. Almost her whole face was ruined. After splashing the acid, Mackenzie rode away on his motorcycle. It's so ironic. The money to buy the motorcycle was the compensation from the man in the bar that he didn't have a fixed plan and slept under a remote overpass for a night. That night, he had a beautiful dream. He dreamed that he didn't go to see Selena off and completely cut off contact with her. He also dreamed that she was with that woman, Iris. In the dream, she wasn't as sharp-tongued and mean as she is now. She was so gentle. She comforted him and did everything she could to help him. He realized that she might have misunderstood about the meal card recharge thing. However, for some reason, he just couldn't say it, because in the dream, she was really so nice. Until before the wedding, Silas came to see him. He gave them a wedding gift, which was a pair of expensive couple's watches. He was clearly very angry but couldn't find the words to say to him. He thought that it definitely wasn't for himself. He must still be thinking about Iris. What about Iris? Did she really like him? Or was she just touched that he secretly recharged her meal card when she was down and out? Thinking like this, he became more and more uncomfortable. He always got angry with her over small things, like who to invite to the wedding and how to arrange the seats. He also repeatedly asked her why she liked him. When she mentioned high school, he immediately interrupted her angrily. Until Selena arrived. He completely exploded. He was so hypocritical that it was outrageous. He deliberately put all the blame on her. This way, he could convince himself that it wasn't just him who deceived her. She was also deceiving him. They were both equally despicable people. He really didn't mean to kill her. It was an accident. After waking up from the dream, he understood everything. The dream should be real. Iris was reborn. But why? Why did she harm him like that? Why was she so fussy? He wanted to go to her and ask her clearly. After Selena was disfigured, Mackenzie disappeared. Silas was very nervous for a while. Every day, he would come to my apartment to pick me up for class and send me home at night. I didn't know how to handle the relationship between him and me. I actually kind of hated my humble appearance in front of Mackenzie in my previous life. I repeatedly asked myself whether I could really fall in love with someone again or if it was just because of gratitude. I also didn't want to waste Silas' time and energy. So I chose to be straightforward and gave him a bank card to express my gratitude to him. It was a lingering autumn rain in Beijing that day, and the streets were rather desolate. He seemed to have lost a lot of weight recently. After I finished saying the polite social words of gratitude, he just looked at me silently. Time seemed to stop at that moment, until he pushed the card back and said, "Iris, you're overthinking. I don't need your repayment." Then he got up and left. I sat on the chair, looking at his figure gradually disappearing into the distance, and didn't move for a long time. My heart felt a bit sad, but I couldn't tell the reason. I'm already very satisfied with my current life, and I don't want any changes. Time is the most deceptive thing. Slowly, we almost forgot about Mackenzie. Until Christmas Day. It snowed heavily in Beijing. I was looking for my car in the basement. Suddenly, a hand pulled me into the dark, and then a handkerchief soaked with knockout drops was pressed over my mouth and nose. I quickly held my breath. I didn't completely lose consciousness, but I felt weak all over and my head was dizzy. I closed my eyes, not daring to anger him any further. Then, taking advantage of his inattention, I first pressed the volume button, which was the easiest to reach, and pressed it hard, hoping to turn it to the minimum volume, because my hands were tied and I couldn't see. During this process, I tried many times but couldn't make a phone call. It wasn't until Mackenzie was driving and not paying attention that the screen suddenly lit up. I quickly answered the call. Pretending to have just regained a bit of consciousness, I tried my best to make a sound and said, "Mackenzie, where are you taking me?" "Oh, you're awake? It's good that you're awake. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fun." Then he didn't say anything more, and neither did I. I kept biting the tip of my tongue to stay awake. Until Mackenzie took me to an abandoned factory. I immediately shouted, "This is the Yun family textile factory in Yanjiao. This factory has been abandoned for a long time. What are you bringing me here for?" I turned my body sideways to prevent him from seeing my phone with the screen on. "Iris, what could I do? Our wedding wasn't completed, was it? Iris, you used to say that you would be with me for the rest of your life. How could you be so heartless? Are you crazy? What are you talking about? I don't understand." "You don't understand? Then you deliberately made me give up the college entrance examination to see Selena off." "Mackenzie, you're out of your mind. Was it me who made you give up the college entrance examination? How shameless you are. Who was it that called me dozens of times to harass me and ask me questions? By the way, I don't think I finally told you the specific location and flight information, did I? If it weren't for that post of yours back then, would I have? What I post is my freedom. Why don't you blame Pangu for splitting the sky and the earth, which allowed someone like you to appear in this world after so many lifetimes? Haha. Iris, I can't out-argue you now, but you're more likable than in the previous life. Let's go through the unfinished process now, okay?" As he said this, he grabbed my neck and covered my mouth and nose with the handkerchief soaked with knockout drops again. When I woke up again, it was when Mackenzie bit my neck. The sharp pain made me instantly sober. I had already been put on a white wedding dress by him. He dragged me up the stairs. I struggled violently. The memories before I died in the previous life came back to me again. Intense panic enveloped me. For a moment, I even thought of dying with him. My hands were tied, so I could only bump into him when he was in a fit of emotion. He was so lucky that he didn't roll down. Instead, he reached out and grabbed me. But accidentally, I heard a crisp sound from his ankle. He squatted down, hugging his foot and crying out in pain for a few times. I took the opportunity to try to run away, but he dragged me back again. He swung his arm and slapped me hard. I just felt a buzzing in my ears. Everything in front of me became blurry. "Iris, why are you so disobedient? Did it hurt? My heart really aches." He pretended to be affectionate and held my face in his hands, wiping the blood from the corner of my mouth with his thumb. I bit down hard, using all my strength. My mouth was full of the taste of blood. He kept struggling, but I wouldn't let go. He started elbowing my head. I still held on tightly until he kicked my stomach. I was kicked and curled up in the corner. When I let go, I spat out a piece of skin. Mackenzie grimaced in pain. It took him a long time to recover. Seeming still angry, he walked towards me, grabbed my hair, forced me to look at him, and slapped me a few more times. My head became dizzier and dizzier, and finally, I had less and less strength to resist. He directly dragged me to the roof. He grabbed my neck tightly and said, "Iris, let's start over again. Let's not hurt each other from now on and live a good life, okay?" I didn't say anything and was still trying to struggle. He dragged me step by step to the edge of the roof. I suddenly understood what he was thinking. He wanted to jump off the roof with me. He was really crazy and insane. If I were given another chance, I would definitely kill him at the very beginning. Just when I was completely desperate. Silas's voice suddenly rang out, "Mackenzie, let her go. We can negotiate about other conditions." He looked at me and Mackenzie's hands cautiously. "Haha. You're here too. How dare you come? Silas, the thing I regret the most is being brothers with you. Why the hell did you come to show off that crappy watch? If you hadn't come, How could I have lost control and treated her like that? How could we have come to this point? Mackenzie and Selena are really a perfect match, a match made in heaven. There couldn't be two people more similar. They always shift the blame onto others. Silas seemed not to understand what he was talking about. But he chose to go along with him. So the person you hate the most is me, right? Then I'm the one you should take revenge on the most. Let her go, and I'll let you take revenge on me, Silas. This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you at all. I shouted out of control, TSK, TSK, TSK. You two really fell in love with each other. How interesting. How interesting. He held me with one hand and threw a dagger with the other, saying, then stab yourself twice, and I'll think about it. Otherwise, I'll push her down right now. Silas picked up the dagger, just glanced at me, and then stabbed himself without hesitation. I felt my mind go blank. Tears rolled down involuntarily. With that stab, his beige sweater was covered in blood. Hurry up and continue. Mackenzie urged excitedly. The second stab quickly followed. He could hardly stand and knelt on the ground. Seeing him so powerless, Mackenzie pounced on him. He grabbed his neck and said, aren't you so cocky? Aren't you so awesome? How come you're now like a half-dead mangy dog in front of me? My life is completely messed up. Why should you two have a good life? Why? Let's all. Before he could finish his words, I picked up the dagger on the ground and stabbed him in the lower back. He turned around in horror and looked at me. I had broken free from the hemp rope that bound me. The price was that I had broken my left thumb by force. The sound of police sirens came from a distance. I couldn't care about anything else anymore. I stumbled towards Silas. The intense pain in my hand seemed to go numb at this moment. I gently helped him up and shouted as I watched his eyes about to close, help! Help! Somebody help! I reached out and tried to stop the blood flowing from his wound. But the blood was like a river breaking its banks, and soon my hands were dyed red. His eyes were about to close. I cried and begged him, Silas. Please. Please. Don't close your eyes, okay? Hold on, okay? Please, Silas. I'm really scared. Silas was in the emergency room for a full 6 hours before he came out. The last time I was that scared was when Grandma passed away. Fortunately, everything turned out okay in the end, and he survived. Cecilia came to see us several times, crying with fright. I was physically okay, just had some bruises from being beaten, and my left thumb hurt a bit and wasn't very useful. On the third day of hospitalization, he could eat some liquid food. I asked someone to cook some light porridge and bring it over. I fed him with one hand. He looked at my clumsy appearance and couldn't help saying, Iris is so rich. There's no need to do it yourself. You could just hire someone to do it. Unexpectedly, he was so petty and still remembered the time when I rejected him before, but looking at his pale lips, even though I was good at being sarcastic, I couldn't say anything sarcastic at this moment. I could only carefully coax him and say, how could I be at ease if someone else did it? What's there to worry about? Don't confuse kindness with love. You don't have a boyfriend yet. Be careful that your future boyfriend will mind that that's true. You. He turned his head away and didn't look at me anymore. I put down the spoon and reached out to pinch his ear, saying, so I carefully asked myself. How could it be just kindness? It's because I like you so much that I dare not make a decision easily. His ear between my fingers gradually turned red and hot. He still hadn't turned his head back. I leaned over gently, kissed his ear, then kissed his chin. He looked back at me in surprise, and I kissed his lips again. Silas. Thank you. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for coming to me again and again. Mackenzie was sentenced to 20 years in prison for multiple crimes. Except for Selena, who went to visit him wearing a veil, no one cared about his fate anymore. The crimes he committed would be judged by the law, and we were going to start a new life. Sometimes, people shouldn't trap themselves. I deliberately cut off everything from the past. I didn't want to recall those bad things anymore, nor did I want to become sharp and crazy again. Regarding the follow-up issues with my parents, I also handed them over to the corresponding institutions. Someone would regularly give them a sum of living expenses every month, and I wouldn't have direct contact with them anymore. Surprisingly, in both my past life and this life, it was the first time that I received an apology from my mother. She searched for me frantically. It took her a long time to find out which university I was attending. She was eager to see me, but by the time she came, Silas and I had already left Beijing. Silas went abroad for further studies, and I also took the opportunity to manage business in other countries, plus change the environment to relax. She looked for everyone she could find and even found Cecilia. According to Cecilia, she was a bit strange. She repeatedly confirmed with Cecilia whether I was still alive. She said she just wanted to see me once, just once. I didn't agree. I just asked someone to take a message to her. I've already repaid the life that belonged to my mother once. There's no need to see each other again in this life. I knew very little about the follow-up matters. I only knew that she drove Selena out of the house. She wrote many letters wanting to send to me, but she didn't have my address. It's too late. It doesn't matter anymore. I will never look back, perhaps because of the sudden and big emotional fluctuations. I had a very long dream one night. I dreamed of how crazy Silas was after I died in my previous life. He kidnapped and imprisoned Mackenzie. The gentle and peaceful scholar picked up a butcher's knife and tortured the person who killed me bit by bit until that person was in extreme pain, until the police found them. Later, Mackenzie was jailed for involuntary manslaughter. Silas was also sentenced to prison for the crime of intentional injury. He attempted suicide many times in prison. It wasn't until his tutor found him to research a time machine that could travel through time that he regained the will to live. I accompanied him in the dream for a very long time. Silas spent a full 20 years, but still didn't succeed in his research. In his later years, he became obsessed with theology for a while. He began to pray to the gods, asking them to give us a chance. He was at his wit's end. Until one time when he was out doing research, he met an old Taoist priest. The priest told him that by accumulating good deeds, one would receive good rewards, and that he could do some virtuous and good deeds in my name. In this way, I would have a good outcome. After that, he stopped researching the time machine and spent his time on other research and inventions instead. He donated all the money obtained from those patents in my name. Before he passed away, he seemed to see me and said, "Iris, I've done everything I could, but it seems that there really is no medicine for regret in this world." After waking up from the dream, I looked at the person sleeping beside me. I just felt as if it had really been just a dream. Was he really that stubborn? What was so good about me? Silas would never tell Iris that he had fallen in love with her even earlier than she knew. At that time, his father had just passed away. The family's financial situation wasn't good. He went to play at his grandmother's house in another village. When passing by the yard of her house, the peaches in the yard were big and red. Afraid of being laughed at if he stayed any longer, he quickly left in a hurry. Suddenly, a little girl stopped him. "Hey! You're Grandma Hua's grandson, right? I'm Iris. Could you help me pick 2 peaches? I'll treat you to them." Hearing this, he was immediately delighted and climbed up the tree to pick a lot of peaches for her. She went back into the house to get several plastic bags and filled a big bag full of peaches for him. When leaving, out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of a big basin full of bright red and big peaches placed in the main room of her house. The peaches on that day were the most delicious ones he had ever eaten in his life. Later, his grandmother was seriously ill. He and his mother got the news very late. As soon as they entered the room, they saw the unfinished fresh meals on his grandmother's table. All of them were sent by her when she came to play at her grandmother's house during the winter vacation every day. She didn't seem to think it was a big deal. She was always smiling like a little sun. Later, he realized that her life wasn't as he had thought. In high school, his mother's job got a lot better. He took part-time jobs tutoring others. On the one hand, he wanted to do his part for the family. On the other hand, he hadn't seen her order any meat dishes for a whole semester. He wanted to know the reason but was afraid of disturbing her. In the end, he could only choose this way. He originally thought that he didn't expect anything in return. But when Mackenzie told her that they liked each other, he had never been so irritable. But can love be forced? Was he supposed to ask for repayment for the favors he had done? She made such a clear distinction. Just for answering a few questions, she would send piles of peaches to express her gratitude that he thought that the peaches in those 2 years were really sour. The end.